All right, good evening. Here we are again. It's Tuesday, about 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Actually, we're starting to record a little bit late. It's about 10 after 7. But at any rate, we're getting going here tonight. I'm happy to see everybody. Um, are there any comments, questions, anything before we start? Okay, we have a very full agenda tonight. So without further ado, why don't we just get right into it? We're starting out in the workbook for students. And as you can see, we're kind of moving along. There are a total of 365 lessons. And part one of the workbook goes from lesson 1 to lesson 220. So tonight we're on lesson 183. So you can see we're moving right along, doing a lesson a day toward completing part one of the workbook. And Jesus seems to be aware of our progress, whether we are or not, because he has some special, it's called Introduction to Lessons 181 to 200. So this group of lessons, Jesus has something to say about it, to the point where he gives him a special introduction. So I'd like to start by going over that before we go to the lesson that we're on today, according to our study schedule. By the way, somebody, Gina, we have to send Joanne a study schedule, right? All right. So let's see. I think Frank just came in. Frank, are you there?
Okay, I'm almost there.
Yay! How you doing, buddy? Thank you for being here. Okay. We were just getting our reading, starting to assign our readers and getting ready to start our workbook study, Frank. So, Sherilyn, would you be reader 1?
Right.
Gina, you gonna read it all?
Yeah, I don't mind reading a couple times before I leave.
Okay, you'll be 2. Joan is 3. Oh boy. Joanne is not there. So, all right, Joan is 3, Ron is 4, Hilda is 5.
Can I pass, please?
Sure. So that means
you.
Ron will be 4, Frank is 5, and we'll see how Joanne's feeling when she comes back to join us. Is that okay?
Sure.
So this introduction that I was referring to is on page 336 in the workbook for students. So why don't we go ahead and get started and do the introduction, and then we'll go to our lesson for today. It's lesson 183. So, Ms. White, you want to get us started here tonight?
Yes, sir. Introduction to lessons 181 through 200. Number 1, our next few lessons make a special point of firming up your willingness to make your weak commitment strong. Your scattered goals blend into one intent. You are not asked for total dedication all the time as yet, but you are asked to practice now in order to attain a sense of peace, such unified commitment will bestow, if only intermittently. It is experiencing this that makes it sure that you will give your total willingness to following the way the course sets forth.
Thank you. Gina?
Mhm.
Our lessons now are geared specifically to widening horizons and direct approaches to the special blocks that keep your vision narrow and too limited to let you see the value of our goal. We are attempting now to lift these blocks, however briefly. Words alone cannot convey the sense of liberation which their lifting brings, but the experience of freedom and of peace that comes as you give up your tight control of what you see speaks for itself. Your motivation will be so intensified that words become of little consequence. You will be sure of what you want in what is valueless.
Thank you. And Joan, the last paragraph?
Okay, paragraph 3. And so we start our journey beyond words by concentrating first on what impedes your progress still. Experience of what exists beyond defensiveness remains beyond achievement while it is denied. It may be there, but you cannot accept its presence. So we now attempt to go past all defenses for a little while each day. No more than this is asked because no more than this is needed. It will be enough to guarantee the rest will come.
Okay. And so that's the introduction. We just came out of review number 5. And just to show you how it's put together, he introduces lessons 181 to 200. And then after lesson 200, we'll do the final review, which will be review 6. And that'll go all the way through lesson 220, and we'll be done with part 1. So we have some longer lessons from 181 to 200, and then the final review period, and we'll be done with part 1 of the workbook. Do me a favor just to look at page 398. Remember when the Joan was just reading, and maybe even in paragraph 2, about how words will start to mean little? Notice how the introduction to part 2 begins on page 398. What does it say in the very first sentence?
Words
Words
will
will mean little now.
All right, so do you see he knows what he's talking about? And that this is a managed curriculum in mind training. Okay. Any comments or questions about the introduction on page 336? Okay.
No?
Hi, Jan. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Saw you come in. I will put your
Thank you,
name on our list of attendees as usual. And thank God that you're present tonight. I hope that you're doing well, my friend. We are getting ready to do our actual lesson for tonight. And that is on page 342. And our next reader is Ron. Shall we continue then?
Yes, I just need to get to that page.
No problem, sir. Thank you.
Okay, lesson 183. I call upon God's name and on my own. I call upon God's name and on my own. God's name is holy, but no holier than yours. To call upon his name is but to call upon your own. A father gives his son his name and thus identifies the son with him. His brothers share his name, and thus are they united in a bond to which they turn for their identity. Your father's name reminds you who you are, even within a world that does not know, even though you have not remembered it.
And so let's do one more. Frank, paragraph 2.
God's name cannot be heard without response, nor said to the out an echo in the mind that calls you to remember. Say his name, and you invite the angels to surround the ground on which you stand and sing to you as they spread out their wings to keep you safe and shelter you from every worldly thought that would intrude upon your holiness.
Thanks, Frank. Well, we're off to a start. Comments? How can God's name be your name? Isn't that the implication here?
We are one with God.
What does that mean? So what does that mean? What does that say about you? And I don't mean you, Frank. I mean
Yes,
you, everybody here. What does that say about us?
my mind is one with God's mind.
What part of you is not with God's mind?
Well, my ego mind is not.
Okay. That's the crazy one again, right?
The crazy one is not part of it, but my spiritual mind, I try to avoid the ego or eliminate it if I can't eliminate it.
Yeah. So we can kind of negate or look over or forgive or let go what the crazy one says, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So what does that do to our daily lives then? I mean, you go out and tell people you're God and they'll put you in the loony bin or the electric chair, right?
I'm crazy, right?
Which is exactly what you'd expect the crazy ones to say and do, right?
Right.
So how do we deal with this? Like it said in the first paragraph, your father name, sentence 5, your father's name reminds you who you are, even within a world that does not know, let alone that you have not remembered it. So, how do we tread day to day knowing we are God in a world that does not know that about us or indeed about itself? This is a good point, right? To talk
Good
about.
question.
Yes, it is.
What
I
does
think
that
you have to
look like?
demonstrate.
Go ahead.
I think you have to demonstrate where knowing that you are God or part of God. by your actions, reactions to things.
Okay.
I think I have to
Thank you, Sue.
recognize the God in other people. And that helps me to know that I have that.
Yes.
Yes, very good.
And so I think both Sherilyn and Joan are, to me, speaking to some appropriate characteristics of us. We have to, in one sense, embrace what we know or are learning about ourselves, and yet still showing compassionate or compassion to those who don't yet know.
I think somewhere it seems to be that we were told that we are considered the arms and legs and eyes and ears of God on this planet, on this earth, on this level, anyways, of existence. And
Yeah.
it kind to me it makes sense. I mean, I think, if you tell somebody, like I'm God, I mean, they think you're crazy. But if you say, I am the extension, I'm the arms, I'm the leg, I do
Yeah.
what I was told to do, what
Yeah.
I should, as a
That
child of some great big family.
and putting those qualifiers on it instead of just saying, hey, I'm God. You can say I'm an expression or vehicle for God, and that's good enough to mitigate some stuff here on level 2. uh you all know what I mean by level 1 and level 2, right? We've just level 1's kind of the truth or heaven, and level 2 is the dream or this world. So on a day-to-day basis, if how would God act in the situations you encounter every day? I guess it's kind of like, you remember the popular phrase, what would Jesus do? Right? Are we doing what Jesus would do or what God would do?
I think really what we're asking for is that spirit guides us,
Yeah.
because as the human side,
Yeah.
we don't really know, and so the only thing you can do is start out and say, guide me, tell me. So,
Take care of
to do that, you got to
you.
get quiet and listen to the voice.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
voice and I don't mean the actual sound. I mean the thought, however you want
Yeah.
to, but however you want to define it, because there really isn't any word for that.
okay.
So
So it means, and what I'm trying to do in these first paragraphs is like unpack it from the book and the spiritual realm, because we have to be God in level 2, and it ain't that easy all the time.
Right.
Let's read some more, okay? All right. We're up to Frank, you just read. Um, how about I read the next one? We're on paragraph 4. I'm sorry, 3, correct?
Well,
Yeah.
I read 3.
Or we're on 3, Joan?
No, I read 3.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm on 4. So 3 started out, repeat God's name and something, something. And 4 says, repeat the name of God, and the little names have lost their meaning. No temptation but becomes a nameless and unwanted thing before God's name. Repeat his name and see how easily you will forget the names of all the gods you value. They have lost the name of God you gave them. they become anonymous and valueless to you, although before you let the name of God replace their little names, you stood before them worshipfully, naming them as gods. I'll come back to that, but let's read one more. We're back to Sherilyn, please.
Okay. Paragraph 5.
Mhm.
Repeat the name of God and call upon yourself, whose name is His. Repeat His name, and all the tiny nameless things on earth slip into right perspective. Those who call upon the name of God cannot mistake the nameless for the name, nor sin for the grace, nor bodies for the Holy Son of God. And should you join a brother as you sit with him in silence and repeat God's name along with him within your quiet mind, you have established there an altar which reaches to God Himself and to His Son.
Thank you. Joanne, you back?
Yes,
Hey, hey,
I tried to
listen.
come in quietly.
Oh, yes. I wanted to see if you want to read. We go around and each we read a paragraph. Did you want to be one of our readers?
You know, right now I kind of want to just kind of get accustomed to what's going on with your group. And would you
Sure.
mind just kind of pass this one time? Because usually I read and it doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
okay.
let's let you get settled in and see if you like what's going on, if you enjoy it. By the way, how long have you been a student of Course in Miracles, dear?
I have forgotten. Ron's group was sort of a little bit of a beginning for me. I don't know how long Ron's been doing it, but
Yeah.
his
It's been
group,
a while.
yeah,
Okay, a while. Okay.
a
That
little,
qualifies. Well,
yeah.
great. Listen, do you know where we are in the workbook here?
Oh, you're in the workbook? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Page 300. Well, we just finished 342.
342. Okay.
We read paragraph 5,
340.
and we were going to talk about paragraphs 4 and 5 a little bit.
Okay.
What are you guys getting out of paragraph 4? Anything? I'm thinking about
Three
this
says,
Bible
repeat his
show.
name and see how easily you will forget the names of all the gods you valued.
You know, I'm thinking about that popular Bible scripture. It says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." And so it's talking to me about the effect of we're in meditation, if you will, with this workbook lesson. And Jesus is saying how just saying the name of God changes, just the utterance in your mind has some sort of effect. Isn't that what he's saying? You don't
Seems to
have
me it is.
Yeah, like you don't like what is it? The name is magic, right?
Well, it makes you more aware of God in your presence,
Yeah,
and just it goes with what we're trying to do here is to
yeah.
um,
What if you said the name Allah instead of God? Would it have the same effect?
it could, but would it if you're not accustomed to using it? I don't know. It
What
would
if
it would be the same.
called it say the name universal intelligence? and all the other gods you put before you would fall away. Would that work?
Makes it awfully complex, it seems to me.
Well, I think you touched another
I think,
comment.
I
Anybody?
think the difficult, I think the difficult
Whatever,
is that we're trying to give a symbol to something that is way beyond way beyond description. So whether you call it in earthly terms Allah or God or Tao or whatever it is, if you're talking about the all-encompassing energy, then that is it. And you
Yeah.
don't have to really give it an earthly name, but it is an existence that is there. And
I think you're on
whatever you want to
fire
call it is
tonight,
fine.
Miss Newman. Go ahead,
Pardon?
I'm interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
I totally agree. I think you're on fire tonight, on point, Hildegard, because it brings out several other points in the Course in Miracles that I just wanted to remind you of, okay? Remember that words are symbols. So anything you give a name to is not it, but it's a symbol for it. But as Hilda was saying, it cannot be named. How many of you know about the Tao Te Ching? Okay, anyone who says it knows what the Tao is, doesn't know the Tao, and stuff like that. So any of the words would work, but notice how it's going to make a level 2 accommodation. You've heard me talk about this before. For example, a level 2 accommodation would be talking about things that are one as if they are separate, because that's the world you're working in. So the name of God is because this course is Christian in its orientation. So maybe if you're reading a similar passage in the Quran, it may use a different symbol, but one that constituency is familiar with. All right. So I just wanted you to see, I don't think Jesus is getting hung up on the letters that make a certain name, but for this group, his constituency here, the name of God can evoke this change. Paragraph 5. Okay, and you come back if you still got something. But paragraph 5, sentence 4, Jesus says, and should you join a brother as you sit with him in silence and repeat God's name along with him within your quiet mind, you have established there an altar which reaches to God himself and to his son. What's an altar?
The symbol.
Yeah. An altar. Do you see that word? You have established there an altar which reaches to God himself and to his son. What's an altar? ALTAR.
Something we look up to. We look up to an altar.
Yeah, I
I-
suppose. Have you heard this word before? The word
Yes.
altar,
Yes,
Yes.
maybe spelled differently. ALTER. What if I told you it's the same thing? What does alter mean?
To change.
Ah,
What? What did she
a
say?
change.
and it is actually like an empty, to physical, to speak in physical term, it's like an empty space upon which you can
It's
build
a
your
holy
front.
space where something happens, where a change occurs. Like I grew up in the Baptist church, right? And they'd have what they called the altar call. And anyone who wasn't saved, who wanted to turn their lives over to Jesus, what did you have to do?
You go up to the altar.
Yeah, because that's where
Up
the
front.
change will occur.
Oh,
Do you see that same word, altar?
sure, I get it.
Yes.
Okay. When oh God, who was it? Jacob. Who were the sons of Abraham? Anybody? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name
Ishmael.
changed to Israel.
It was
Yup.
Ishmael and Isaac.
Yeah, that's hi, Louise. We were just talking about the word altar, and it's a place where a change occurs. Oh man, I'm so rusty on my Bible stuff now, but
Right.
Jacob fought with this angel and said, I won't let you go until you save me or something. And the angel did. And to mark the point where that happened, he built an altar. And he also honored it by changing his name. He changed it from Jacob to what? Israel.
Israel.
That's where the Israeli nation came from. So, and also, maybe you don't know the Bible and that, but in the Bible, at these places where special things happen, they build like a mound of stones to dedicate that point where that change happened. Or you'll hear people that, like in Islam, people change their name, like Cassius Clay. When he went into Islam, what did he do to signify a change, an alteration? What did he do? They didn't call him Cassius Clay anymore, did they?
No,
Mohammed?
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. So I'm just showing you kind of examples
Okay.
of what an altar is. It's the place where some incredible change happens. Did I spend too much time? Was it worth it? Or
That was worth it.
Yeah.
You explained it pretty good. I think I get it.
excellent, good deal. Anything anyone else want to say on paragraphs 4 and 5? Then why don't we continue? Gina, you're still here. You want to read another paragraph before you leave out?
Sure.
We're on 6.
Yep, number 6. Practice but this today. Repeat God's name slowly again and still again. Become oblivious to every name but his. Hear nothing else. Let all your thoughts become anchored on this. No other word we use except at the beginning, when we say today's idea but once, and then God's name becomes our only thought, our only word, the only thing that occupies our minds, the only wish we have, the only sound with any meaning, and the only name of everything that we desire to see, of everything that we would call our own.
Thank you, Gina. And Joni, do 7 and then we'll talk some more. You there, Joan?
Oh, Joanne? Are you
No,
talking-
Joan.
Oh,
Joan.
we got two Joanne. Okay.
Yeah, we have a Joanne and a Joan. Can you hear me, Joan?
Yes, okay. You
7.
want me to read paragraph 7?
Yes, dear, please.
Okay. Thus do we give an invitation which can never be refused, and God will come and answer it himself. Think not he hears the little prayers of those who call on him with names of idols cherished by the world. They cannot reach him thus. He cannot hear requests that he be not himself, or that his son receive another name than his.
So this is getting good. I want to make a point here, but let's read paragraph 8 first. Ron, we're up to you, sir.
Yes. Repeat God's name and you acknowledge him as sole creator of reality. And you acknowledge also that his name is part of him creating in his name. Sit silently and let his name become the all-encompassing idea that holds your mind completely. Let all his thoughts be still except this one, and to all other thoughts respond with this, and see God's name replace the 1,000 little names you gave your thoughts, not realizing that there is one name for all there is and all that there will be.
Comments? I just want to make sure we're connecting the dots. What did the introduction say about lessons 181 to 200? What are they, what's special about this group of lessons?
Widening the horizon.
Say it again there.
Widening the horizon
Yes.
to encompass more than just a small aspect of it.
Yes. And there was another point that contributed to being able to do this. Didn't it talk about the falling away of words? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we read 8 paragraphs, and a lot's been said about one word. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to collapse all the stuff down and show you the effects of getting away from words. And just this one thing that will launch this altar, this connection for your meditation periods. It's not going to be a lot of words in part 2, is there? Remember how small the lessons are? So I'm just trying to get you to see the coherency. He first said, pay attention to these lessons. I'm going to start showing you how to get to where you're trying to get quickly without a whole lot of words. Do you see him doing that in this lesson? Getting us prepared. That's the point I was trying to make, okay? there's so much material in every paragraph, in every sentence of this study, that you'll be so engaged in that you may overlook the fact that there's an overall pattern going on as well, which is as deep and as meaningful as is every paragraph and every sentence. So I don't want to give you all a headache, okay? But broaden your horizons and see what's going on here in terms of mind training. Is that helpful?
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yes.
Good deal. We're up to Frank, paragraph 9.
Today you can achieve a state in which you will experience the gift of grace. You can escape all bondage of the world and give the world the same release you found. You can remember what the world forgot and offer it your own remembering. You can accept today the part you play in its salvation and your own as well. And both can be accomplished perfectly.
And I'll read, I think it's up to me. Paragraph 10, turn to the name of God for your release, and it is given you. No prayer but this is necessary, for it holds them all within it. Words are insignificant and all requests unneeded when God's Son calls on his Father's name. His Father's thoughts become his own. He makes his claim to all his Father gave, is giving still, and will forever give. He calls on him to let all things he thought he made be nameless now, and in their place the holy name of God becomes his judgment of their worthlessness. I'll stop. How are we doing before we go on? Is this still following the scenario that I was describing? Okay. So I'm going to show you a shortcut. Just invoke your name, and everything you're looking for, you'll get to that zone quickly. We're up to Sherilyn again for what's your comment?
Okay.
For you? Anybody? Sherilyn, please.
All right. All little things are silent. Little sounds are soundless now. The little things of earth have disappeared. The universe consists of nothing but the Son of God who calls upon his Father, and his Father's voice gives answer in his Father's holy name.
And we're almost done.
In this eternal still relationship in which communications far transcends all words and yet exceeds in depth and height whatever words could possibly convey, is peace eternal. In one Father's name, we would experience this peace today, and in his name it shall be given us.
So I call upon God's name, which is the same as calling upon my own. But I don't believe that yet, but I can use it to speed up my practice periods and improve the quality of my meditations. So we're starting to move away from so many words although he used a lot of words to first explain it, right?
Mhm.
But he's saying, say God's name, which is your own, even though you don't believe that. But just use that as a mantra to get you into that communication, that communion with God, with this thing, this universal intelligence. That'll help you get there and make your meditations enjoyable. Now, Joanne, we do a meditation period with every workbook lesson because in lesson 41, Jesus instructed us to include a meditation with every workbook lesson. So what I do is put on some background music and just take a few minutes to meditate on the lesson that we're doing. So if that's all right with you, my dear, and with everyone else, I'll share screen, put on some music here as usual, and reflect on lesson 183. I call upon God's name and upon my own. I call upon God's name and on my own. But it's the on my own part that's the issue. So I'm feeling like just be genuine at least about calling upon God's name, and that'll help me to get to this place of clarity and the widening of my horizons, so I can take these blinders off, these blinders of the ego thought system of separation, and see reality for what it is, even for a few minutes. And then when I leave that place and come back here to level 2, to the world, I can bring that inspiration with me and have my batteries charged up in my glory for the work that I'm supposed to be doing here. What is that? What is our role here as teachers of God, by the way? You can unmute yourselves. I know you're anxious to talk to me. Can't wait. What is my purpose here? Somebody go to lesson 61 and just read a little bit of that. Just a little reminder. Here.
I am the light of the world.
Light of the world.
When I first read that years ago, I said, I am the light of the world. I know you're not talking to me. My church taught me Jesus was the light of the world. And the best thing I could do is follow Jesus. But now here's this book by Jesus saying, Jim, you are the light of the world along with me. So, Louise, you read that so eloquently. Just read the first few sentences. I'll stop you.
Who is the light of the world except God's Son? This, then, is merely a statement of the truth about yourself. It is the opposite of a statement of pride, of arrogance, or of self-deception. It does not describe the self-concept you have made. It does not refer to any of the characteristics with which you have endowed your idols. It refers to you as you were created by God. It simply states the truth.
Okay. To my ego, that's the farthest thing from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But now I see that's just an indication of how screwed up my ego is. So the two prevailing questions of our species, our most fervent prayers, centers around what am I and why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I? I'm God in expression. Why am I here? To bring light to the world that's having all these problems because they've forgotten what they are. How many times have you heard the expression, know thyself? That sounds almost like Socrates and all these smart people, right? Know thyself. Because if we would just know ourselves, it would solve all of our problems. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all the other things will be added to you. All the problems are coming from misidentification. So, can you think of a more worthy goal than to help our brothers and sisters solve their problems? Because we're learning what the solution is. Comments from you. Am I off track on this?
Mhm.
Yes, I'm off track. Why?
No, no.
Okay. Can you think of a more worthy profession, or did you think it'd be better to just be rich?
No.
What
Okay.
good would that do?
When you put up the glory of this purpose, all the other stuff you used to think was so cool pales in comparison to what we've been chosen to do. Don't you think?
Mhm.
So it is a glorious experience, or at least the mission is. And the thing is, it says, if you'll get out of the way, I'll guide you to success. I'm lazy. So if I could get out of the way and have it done for me, I'm the first one would speak up for that. But where we have problems, even when we have the interest, is that guidance has to teach us how to even get out of the way. So I become wholly dependent on it 24/7. And to most humans who pride themselves on being individuals, it's quite insulting, isn't it? To admit you don't know a damn thing about nothing. And yet, what's that in the 12-step program? The first step is come out of denial and admit you don't know, I won't say a damn thing, you don't know nothing. It's very humbling. Comments. Okay. How we doing that lesson?
It's good.
All right. Always love the first one after it comes out of review 5. And that first one at 181, it says, I trust my brothers who are one with me. I mean, that made me do as much a double take as lesson 61 when I first read it. You know, the course teaches, and man, I mean, I have no enemies. Who came up with that stuff like enemies?
The ego.
Yeah. So it's difficult, but I have to stop acting like I have enemies. But the good thing about it, theoretically, is I should be able to walk full stride every day instead of being fearful and having to watch out. Oh, that might be one. You have to watch. And oh, that. Do you see how freeing it is to have no enemies? Can you even fathom that? I know I couldn't, at least at first. but I'm just trying it out in baby steps and I'm still alive. And guess what? I smile a lot more. So that's my speech on it. You ready to move to our text reading? All right, we're moving right along there too. I'm excited, we'll be finished with the text, but man, there's a lot of beautiful stuff coming up as we get into that short section, but very powerful section called the Manual for Teachers. By the way, Joanne, just unmute yourself. I just wanted to ask you if you've studied the Manual for Teachers before. Have you been through that section? Hold on, let me get you unmuted here. Okay. Have you studied the Manual for Teachers, Joanne?
I have looked at it and I have read it.
Okay.
However, when I was reading it, I felt like I had a ways to go.
You're not alone.
Yeah, I think we all have to smile at that. I don't think not all of us have probably had that feeling.
Yeah,
But,
it put me in my place again.
It's a beautiful study. Now, I want you, by the way, to know that this group not only completes the entire body of A Course in Miracles, text, workbook, manual for teachers, but we also do the 2 supplements that are included in the 3rd volume of the course. Helen Schuckman's writings of psychotherapy and the Song of Prayer. Have you ever studied those before?
Yeah, yes, I have. Yes, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm real glad to hear that you're doing all of this because I haven't been to a class where they did all of this before. I think it's wonderful. But yes, I have I have 2 different pamphlets for the Song of Prayer.
Yes.
The
Yes.
other, the pamphlet, I don't have it in my book, but yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So you see, we're in for still a rousing good time coming up, right?
Yes, absolutely. The Song of Prayer taught me how to pray. I never understood quite how to pray, but and that brought me to another realization that I use now, and it might sound crazy, but it's all the same thing, of course. Now and it works. It just works for me. If there's something that I need, I just call on the spirit world. I just call spirit and I tell them what I need because we have to ask, we do have to ask. And yeah, I just ask. And let's see now, I ask and then I release it to spirit. And it's wonderful. It works. I don't use a lot of words. In fact, I've learned not to be specific. Yeah, I was told to be specific when I pray.
Don't
Like,
let words get in the way, huh?
so I just say what I want to say in a few words. I release it to the universe or to spirit, and it works. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful.
Amazing. How come you have to ask? Why? I'm not just asking you, I'm asking the group.
Oh, you know what? I don't ask. I say it what I actually what I say is what I want. This is what I was taught. I want, that sounds so controlling to me, but I'm not used to saying it that way. But I was told, that this is the way to do it is to say I want, and so that's what I do. I
It's
don't.
the same as asking. I know in the Bible it says, seek and ye shall find, ask and it shall be given to you.
Yeah,
But I'm asking this smart group, why must we ask before we receive? Y'all help me with this.
Actually, I think about it in reverse. Is I'm really giving thanks for something that is already there. It just hasn't expressed itself.
And what opens your portal? It's the asking, right? So
Well, it's just
go
just
ahead.
the recognition that you're talking to God, you know, that you're communicating with God. And it's
And
not words.
well, let me just maybe put it out there as a reminder. You have to ask because you were created with free will. God Himself can't make you do what you don't want to do. Why can't God do that? Because love does not attack. My greatest gift was free will, or is free will. And notice that love absolutely respects my free will. Now, there is a fail-safe with that, right? Anything that's not the will of God can be imagined, but it can't be real. That's the fail-safe on the system. So whatever I choose that's not in alignment with God's will, it'll make something, but it won't create something. What will it make? It starts with a I. And then a L. Come on, people. And all right. All right. So whatever happens, it'll come to you for the asking. But the fail-safe is it can't be real. That's why this world of separation is a ILLUSION, because it violated the fail-safe, because it's not God's will for us to be separate. So you can play with it, but in the final analysis, it's not, it's meaningless, except for one thing. Anybody remember what that is?
one thing.
A lesson.
Ah, yes, of course.
I won't do that again. Thank goodness it was only a dream.
Oh, yeah, yeah, right.
Go to lesson 193 right quick, somebody.
190.
You should be quoting that yourselves by now.
I said I had a ways to go.
We all do, dear. So you're in a good place.
Get out of that one real quick.
Yes. All things are lessons God would have me learn.
Yeah.
It's the only value an illusion can have. Remember the prodigal son that wanted to go off to a faraway land where he could find his happiness? And his father didn't stop him, because his father knew there is no faraway land, but I have to let you discover it for yourself. I cannot oppress you. Oppression is not my nature, being love. So go on and violate the fail-safe, because it can't be violated. But when you come back home, you'll come back home of your own free will, and you won't try and leave home again. Oh God, we're not getting to the text.
I forgot all about it.
What did Dorothy learn in The Wizard of Oz?
There's no place like home.
And she got there and she thought, wow, what a wondrous place. And people come and go and all these weird things. And wow, it's amazing. But after a while, it kind of had a dark side to it. And all these winged monkeys and scary things. And pretty soon, all she wanted to do was what?
Go home.
Go home.
Look at lesson 182. It's just before the one we did tonight. What's the title of that one?
182.
I will be still an instant and go home.
Isn't that what we're all trying to do?
Right. How do you do that?
I'm gonna teach you, but for me to do this, you'll have to get out of the way, because the logic I use is not like the mistaken logic you use. It won't make sense to your ego.
Okay.
Your ego will be upset with this because it's not the ego thought system at all. It's diametrically opposed. It's 180 degrees from everything the world has taught us.
Okay.
I can do it, but you have to invite me and stay with me. But here's what you're thinking. I already know. You think you're going to have to sacrifice something, that you're going to have to give up something for this. Who wouldn't give up a slaughterhouse for what I'm offering? Is it really a sacrifice to give up misery and pain?
Nope.
Is it a sacrifice to give up anxiety, a loss of peace?
No.
This is what this offers. Go to lesson 121. Somebody read that and somebody get 122 on tap.
(121) Forgiveness is the key to happiness.
And 122.
Forgiveness offers everything I want.
What is forgiveness?
My only function.
Forgiveness is overlooking illusions. Why do our illusions look so real? Why? I mean, even our messes look real. Why is that, child of God?
Well, I think our ego has something to do with it.
Well, who made the ego?
Oh,
We did.
We made our own.
We made it. Okay. So we're the one that gives it power.
okay.
But why do illusions look so real? It's not because they're real. It's because of the power that was used to make them.
Right.
Our thought power is the most powerful power there is. It is the same power that our Creator uses. Our Creator, it's a mental activity. It thinks things into existence. We have the same power, but look, kids might use it in the wrong direction. Yes?
Mhm.
Right?
And so it seems. Thank goodness all they can make are lessons at best. Do you see how God said, I got this? I know those little ones are kind of crazy. They're still developing. They're still sowing their wild oats. They have enormous power, but they don't have wisdom yet, do they? So maybe I have a book out called Earth School, Joanne. The full title is Earth School, Why We Think We're Here. We're not here. It's an hallucination created by power gone amok. Through the use of power without wisdom. It sounded good at first, but separate heavens cannot work. Do you know what I mean? Separate heavens? I have my own heaven because I'm an individual and I have my own private thoughts. And I'll share some stuff with you, but some you're not entitled to because they're my private thoughts. I'm endowed by my Creator with my own individual bullshit, is what this book says. I'm not an individual. I've never been an individual. I'm not now, and I never can be an individual. We're all in this together. Don't you see that?
I do now.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, my friend. Listen, we did not make it to the text, but that's not unusual for us, is it? We just come together and let Spirit do its thing and have its way with us. However, I do have to check that I was led appropriately. So I have to do a smile check at the end of the group. How many of you are feeling good, by what we've talked about? Or do I see any smile? Oh, I've got hand raised. I've got a few beautiful smiles. All right, I got an amen hand. Hey, so you see, if I see your smiles, you know what smiles do. They bring joy to me as well. So we end up with a win-win situation, don't we?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So I hope you guys will carry that through the rest of your week. By the way, Judy Piotrowski asked, she told me she wouldn't be able to be here tonight. And if we would all keep her in prayer. I don't quite know what's going on, but I'm sure you'll be accommodating and hold Judy in prayer, all right? Any final comments or questions or anything?
I like to explain things. I like the way you you don't rush through it. You explain it real good. I like that. I thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I am here only to be truly helpful. Took me years to get that going. Feels like I'm doing better. Yay.
When I move next time, I'll call on you to bring some boxes in the basement, okay?
I am here only to be truly helpful. So let me know what you need, dear, okay?
No, I say that because when I moved here recently and everybody was going to help, but when on moving day, only a few people showed up because there were a lot of boxes.
All right. Did you have pizza?
I think we did.
You have to feed these people now, or else they're not coming either.
I found out when people get older, they don't want to do a lot of moving.
I know. Hey, things have changed. I used to sling stuff around, but man, at our age, that's no small task anymore.
Well, you can hurt yourself at our age, bringing all those heavy boxes into a deep basement.
Absolutely. So we have to learn to be wise and take it easy, I think.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came to visit us. Come back anytime. I hope you'll be a member of our study group. And we close out with the Unity Prayer of Protection. Have you ever heard of that, Joanne?
I've heard of that.
All right. And basically, Hilda's going to start off, and then you'll hear us repeating everything she says. And that's pretty much it, right, Hilda?
Absolutely.
All right, let's turn it over to our closer for the prayer protection tonight.
Okay.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
God is.
I am the light of God.
I am the light of
the
God.
light of God.
I am the love of God.
I am
the love of God.
I am the power of God.
I
I
the
am
power
the
of
power
God.
of God.
I am the presence of God.
I
I
am
am the presence of God.
Therefore,
Therefore,
wherever I am,
wherever
I am,
God is.
God
is.
And all is well.
All is well.
and
All is well.
There is nothing to fear.
there is
There's
nothing.
Nothing
to
to
fear.
There is only love.
There is
There is only love.
love.
Namaste.
Namaste.
makes my life a lot easier to only be one thing. I'll see you next week here. Have a good
Thank you, Jim.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Frank, good to see you as always. Joanne, great to see you.
Yeah.
You'll be
Take care,
back.
guys. Good night to you.